Hi, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. This is Amy from With Love by Amy, and here we're going to make this gingerbread card that was inspired by Mona Toth. Here's my inspiration photo, and let's get started. Alright, so this is the stuff we're going to use. That double-sided paper, these Oh Snap stamps and dies from Lawn Fawn, and this Snarky Christmas set from Ink Road Stamps, and Sprinkled with Joy from Lawn Fawn as well. I have all the dies with that stamp set as well. We're going to use this chocolate chip ink from Stampin' Up! And Candied Apple Distress Oxide ink, and we're basically going to create a scene as you saw in the first picture, and you're going to see how it all comes together. I decided to make this look like wallpaper by like Christmassy wallpaper, I guess. Here's the dimensions that I made for the base of my card. You're just going to see me using the scoring board to put all the pieces together here. I'm scoring it at the dimensions shown. This card was a lot of trial and error for me because I didn't have dimensions to go off of, and I knew in my head what I wanted to do. So here we are just doing the floor. What I did with the floor was I started, it says it's 0.7 inches per floorboard to get a 4.25 inch card base to be even. So I just started on one side, flipped to the other side, and went the other way just so it could look even enough, because it's not exact by the lines that are on the scoring board. So, and then we're just going to run the the brown ink pad over the top of the panel, because the spots that are indented, as long as I don't push too hard on the ink pad, it shouldn't go into the indented lines, so it should look like a wood floor. All right, and now we are going to, I've already die cut all of these shapes that I'm planning on using, all the cookies and the gingerbread people and stuff. I've already die cut all of them, and then I'm going to stamp them second. I've found that works best for me because it's easy for me to keep them in place when I'm coloring them, as well as line up the stamps better. Most of these stamps were still new when I used them, so I had to condition them a little bit by rubbing on them so they wouldn't get all stuck and the ink would actually stick to them. The ink that I used to color or to stamp with these was Amalgam ink by Gina K Designs, and it's the color Jet Black. And then I'm using my Olo markers to color in all of my stamped images here. I did have to use a Sharpie or two, and I had a Copic or two in there because I don't have very many Olo markers yet. It's on my Christmas list. Alright, so while I'm coloring here, I want to talk a little bit about why I made this card. This card was created for a hop on Instagram called and it's a hashtag driven hop created by Kelly's Craft, and the hashtag is Christmas Comes Early Hop 2022. So if you're interested, head on over to Instagram and take a look and see all the things that the creators have made. This is the final week of it, and the final week is a freestyle week, so it's just supposed to be like a holiday themed card. So I'm very interested to see what everyone came up with. I created this card in this fashion because I just thought it would be funny to do, gingerbread people making cookies, gingerbread cookies. So I was looking through all the, Pinterest and all the things to try to see if I could find a stamp set that used like a table, because I kind of wanted the gingerbread people to be making the cookies at a table. But I couldn't find anything that looked like that. And then when I came across Mona's card, I was like, ooh, I could easily adapt that to my cards or my idea. So that is where the inspiration came from. And I tried to make it look like a kitchen, a Christmas kitchen maybe. I definitely had more ideas in mind to like amp up the card. However, when I assembled it, I forgot some of the pieces. Like I was going to make a tablecloth. I did make a tablecloth. And and I did not attach it when I glued on all the pieces to the tablecloth or the table. So therefore my card did not get a tablecloth. I had a couple other things in mind too, and I forgot to do them, and then I glued all the things together and I just messed it up. So, oh well. All right, we can get back to the coloring here. I'm using my Olo markers in some of these. I'm using a couple Copics, and I also have some Sharpies because my marker collection is kind of hodgepodge at the time. I can't wait to grow my Olo marker collection because they have very nice markers that blend nicely. They dry nice and smooth. I like them a lot. So I cannot wait to get some more. I'm hoping to get another gift certificate for Christmas. That would be really nice. So yeah, we're just coloring in all of these pieces that have already been die cut. So once I'm done, I'll just pop them out of the little space that they're in, holding them in place for me. That is one of the reasons that I enjoy die cutting and then stamping, is so they're held in place. All right, and then I decided I was going to do one more gingerbread person that I found in the Ink Road Stamps Snarky Christmas set. And here we go, assembling the card. All right, so there's the floor and the wallpaper, and we're just gonna attach that all in place with some, I used score tape for that because I wanted to make sure it was nice and strong to hold up my whole assembly here. For the card base, I did use 110 pound Neenah Solar Classic Crest White cardstock. And the floor panel, I believe, is 80 pound. I'm not sure what brand. All right, so we're going to stamp that sentiment that you just saw there, the remix to the Ignition Cookie sentiment from Ink Road Stamps, and we're going to heat emboss it in gold. And then here comes the trial and error part. You're going to see me attempting to assemble all the bits and pieces for the table and trying to figure out where exactly I should put it so that the card still closes when I'm building it and all the things. Chances are I'm not going to send this card in the mail just because it's kind of redonkulously, weirdly large. Even when it's closed, it's kind of, because it has so many layers, it's a thick card, so I probably won't mail it. I will probably just hand it to somebody at Christmas, but I definitely use my bone folder after I put any of the layers down with the score tape on them, like the back of the table there. You just saw I went over it with the bone folder to make sure that it was burnished down and adhered well. Because that part will be moving a lot, I wanted to make sure that it was secure. All right, and so I took some scraps of white cardstock there, and I just cut it into like 1/2-inch widths. And now I'm going to make the legs for the table. I'm trying to figure out here, what size do I need to make the legs for the table? Because I need to have, a 1/4 inch on the top and a 1/4 inch on the bottom to put tape on. And then I will fold those pieces over at the end. I'm going to use my scoreboard to make little score lines so that they fold nicely and evenly. And I did a 1/4 inch from each end of the little legs for the table. And then, because what I decided to do, see there, I'm making sure that it fits right and that the table's pretty level. What I decided to do with the sentiment strip, which is what I'm going to adhere here, is I decided that I was going to tape the table legs to the back of that sentiment pop-up strip thing. So they're adhered at the bottom, and they're also adhered. I also put score tape on that sentiment strip. So there I am trying to adhere it down and make it straight. Because you can line it up with the floorboards. That's one of the things that I like about the floorboards, that because the lines are straight on the floor, you can line up the sentiment strip and it'll be even as long as your measurements are correct. And thankfully mine were. So then I'm going to attach the legs, and I started on the bottom with the legs, and I decided I was going to put tape on the front of it. You can't really see the score tape after I take the backing off it, but I did put score tape going up the leg as well, like 1 inch, because the sentiment strip goes up an inch. So it has a 1/4 inch tape down on the bottom, and then it has an inch up of tape on the front of the leg so that it sticks to that sentiment strip so everything folds in the correct direction when you close the card. I thought that was important to make sure that it folded properly, or help make it fold properly. All right, and here we are adhering this. I did both of the legs on the bottom first. It just seemed to make it work better. In my opinion, I don't know. This was a very trial and error card because I didn't have any dimensions. I had to just figure it out by looking at Mona's picture, which was a very beautiful card, and I loved it. So I was glad to have that inspiration and kind of a guide to look at to see where I should put things possibly. But yes, it was definitely trial and error because I don't do cards like this very often, so this is very much outside my comfort zone. All right, and then I'm going to put score tape on the top little flap of my legs there where they're scored over. We're just going to put a little piece of score tape on there, and then we are going to attach it all together. This was definitely like lots of footage here because it took me a long time to figure out exactly how I should do everything. I didn't want to mess it up. I wanted this to be like one rendition of the card while I was filming. It's definitely a card I will probably repeat because it is fun, and I could see myself using it for lots of different occasions, I suppose. All right, so now we're going to assemble the scene. I didn't realize that the card itself was off the screen for a lot of this recording, so unfortunately, you're not going to see a ton of it, but you can see the end, the final picture. I did pop up the gingerbread people. I didn't pop up any of the cookies or anything. I did glue a couple things to the gingerbread people's hands, like the rolling pin, which you just saw, and the other gingerbread guy, whatever person, I don't know, they has the cookie cutter in their hand, and then the little gingerbread person from the Inkroad stamp set, they are just going to be popped up in the back, and I think they have a cookie in their hand. So yeah, I'm just gluing all that stuff together. I'm using my Make Art station, which is very helpful to keep all this stuff stuck together. And here I am coloring that little gingerbread person that ends up in the back of the scene because I almost forgot about him. So he's going to get colored now, and then he's going to get fussy cut out, which takes way too long. So I really must say, I appreciate having dies for these things. I never really was a purchaser of the stamp and the die set previously. However, with ones like this, like sets like this with lots of intricate pieces, little pieces that look much better when they're die cut out, I will say I'm definitely a fan of the stamp and die set together. And I do think that there's a difference between just fussy cutting them. Yeah, Gingerbread Man needs a little help because I didn't color him very good. My coloring skills are not so hot. But I'm going to go back over him with a black marker around the edges to like clean up his lines because look at how much of a mess I did. Like, he's terrible looking right now. We're going to do what we can to make him look a little better. I also probably should have done a lighter color for his body because it's hard to see the colors. However, this brown is in fact the only brown that I have. Alright, so here we are back to assembling our scene because that's how my card making goes. I'm like, oh no, I forgot to do this or that. So here we are assembling the scene, getting things put together, and yeah. So I'm making little legs for these guys too. So we're going to pop these guys up. So they're getting basically similar to the table legs. They're getting a strip of paper that I tried to hide behind one leg on the bigger gingerbread guys. And I had to color some space in so you didn't see the little thing on the bigger gingerbread person. But here we are adhering the cookie tray and the I'm trying to figure out here now where I can put these gingerbread people. I wanted to put them down lower, like on the front of this table, but then I realized if I put them there, they would come out the top of the card when I close the card. So whoopsie, my plan didn't have much science behind it. So I had to just play around with it and see what would work. Alright, so we're building little legs for the rest of them, and I decided to put liquid adhesive on the part that was going to go behind the gingerbread people, because then I could move it a little bit. See, there I am lining it up behind one leg to make sure that I can still like move it around a little bit, and then we'll score it at the bottom and he'll be good to go. After that, we'll just cut the excess off the top. There I am doing that. And then we will figure out where we're going to stick him on the card. Yeah, we got to make sure he dries. Always good to make sure everything's securely dry before you go smushing it onto the card. So it's a lot of bits and pieces assembly and trial and error, because I think there were a few things on here that I just ended up ripping apart and hoping it didn't look too messed up. Like when I glue them on the card, I had to realize that I put it in the wrong spot and the card wouldn't close right with them there, so I had to move him. But here we are still, excuse me, assembling things. Gingerbread guy is getting his cookie cutter in his hand, and now we're going to try to figure out where he goes on the card. And I think this is where we see me mess up, because I put it in there, then I close the card. Whoopsie, I adhere it, and then we close the card. So yeah, here we go. We're gonna burnish the tape on there, and then pull the backing off the tape, and then here we go. I had all that footage was off the screen. Here's the finished product. I hope you like it. Here's a couple different views of it. I really enjoyed this card. It was a lot of challenge to make. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you stop back soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps. And here's some more videos that you may enjoy. Have a great day. Thank you so much.